Exploring the depths of the ocean can be exhilarating, but for thrill-seeking divers, certain dive sites around the world pose significant risks and challenges. Among these, the Blue Hole in the Red Sea stands out as one of the most perilous due to its treacherous submerged tunnel, known as the Arch. However, the Red Sea, with the Blue Hole in the Arch, is not alone. From the mysterious underwater caves of Eagle's Nest Sinkhole in Florida to the forbidding depths of Jacob's Well in Texas, divers encounter hazards ranging from tight passageways to extreme depths. The allure of these sites, coupled with the reputation for danger, draws adventurers seeking an adrenaline rush, but it's essential to approach them with caution. Here are a few of the most dangerous dive sites in the entire world. The Blue Hole, better known by its malevolent moniker, Divers Cemetery, is a famous diving spot located in the southeast Sinai region, just a few kilometers north of Dahab, Egypt, along the Red Sea coast. It's a unique underwater sinkhole, with its deepest point reaching over 100 meters below the surface. The hole has a shallow opening called the Saddle, which is about 6 meters deep, and a tunnel known as the Arch, stretching for 26 meters with its ceiling at a depth of 55 meters. The tunnel gradually slopes downwards, reaching a depth of about 120 meters as it opens up to the sea. Beyond the hole, the ocean floor drops steeply to over 1,000 meters. The Blue Hole and its surroundings are rich in coral and reef fish, making it a popular spot for divers. Free divers particularly favor it because of its easy accessibility from the shore and the absence of strong currents. Despite its popularity, the Blue Hole has gained a reputation for being one of the deadliest diving sites worldwide. Estimates suggest that between 130 and 200 divers have lost their lives there in recent years. The exact reasons for this high number of fatalities remains unclear and are still under investigation. Centuries ago, Divers Cemetery was traditionally avoided by the Bedouin tribes who had lived in the area. During the Israeli occupation of the Sinai Peninsula from 1967 to 1979, the Blue Hole gained recognition as a dive site. In 1968, a group of Israeli divers, led by Alex Shell, were the first to explore the hole using modern scuba diving gear. It was during this dive that they discovered the underwater arch. Since 1982, the Blue Hole has become a popular destination for recreational divers, attracting visitors from around the world. Dive centers in the area regularly organize trips for qualified divers, typically taking them to a depth of 30 meters at sites like El Bells or Bells to Blue Hole. However, recreational divers on these trips don't get to see the Blue Hole's main arch. The Blue Hole in the Red Sea is a popular dive site, but it's the Arch, the aforementioned submerged tunnel within the Blue Hole, that poses significant risks to divers. Over the years, many accidents and fatalities have occurred here, although the exact number is still uncertain. This includes incidents not directly related to diving through the Arch, such as snorkeling deaths at the surface. To improve safety, the Egyptian Chamber for Diving and Water Sports, or CDWS, now requires divers to be accompanied by certified guides who enforce safety procedures. The arch itself presents challenges due to its depth, with the ceiling reaching 55 meters. Recreational divers usually consider 40 meters as the safe limit, so diving through the arch requires specialized training and equipment. Gas management is crucial, as any delays or errors at this depth may require more than one tank of breathing gas to complete the dive safely. Several factors contribute to the high accident rate at the arch. The site's reputation attracts divers seeking a challenge, even if they lack the necessary skills. Additionally, the clear and warm waters of the Red Sea may give a false sense of security, leading divers to underestimate the risks. Finding the entry to the arch can also be difficult, and the tunnel may appear shorter than it actually is due to environmental factors like water clarity and lighting. Moreover, navigating through the tunnel requires careful planning to avoid decompression sickness and running out of gas. At this depth, nitrogen narcosis can impair judgment, increasing the likelihood of errors. While using trimix or heliox may mitigate the effects, it's not mandatory for diving through the arch. Some divers attempt the dive with just one tank of gas, which is extremely risky and has resulted in drowning or decompression sickness. Overall, diving through the arch requires advanced skills, careful planning, and adherence to safety protocols to minimize the risks involved. One of the most tragic incidents at the Blue Hole involved Yuri Lipsky, a 22-year-old Russian diving instructor whose death on April 28, 2000 was captured on video. Lipsky, carrying a video camera, experienced an uncontrolled descent to a depth of 115 meters, where he eventually reached the sea floor. The footage captured his desperate attempts to regain control as he removed his breathing apparatus and tried to adjust his buoyancy compensator, but he was unable to ascend. At this depth, Lipsky would have been affected by severe nitrogen narcosis, which can impair judgment and induce panic. Despite warnings from experienced divers like Tarek Omar, Lipsky proceeded with a dive. Omar later recovered Lipsky's body and found his helmet camera intact, containing the footage of the tragic incident. The Great Blue Hole is a massive underwater sinkhole found near Belize. It's located close to Lighthouse Reef, a small ring-shaped coral reef about 70 kilometers away from the Belize mainland and Belize City. This hole is round, about 318 meters wide and 124 meters deep. The hole formed over time during periods of the Earth's history, when sea levels were much lower than they are now. Analysis of formations called stalactites found within the Great Blue Hole indicates that it began forming around 150,000 years ago and continued developing in stages over tens of thousands of years until about 15,000 years ago. As sea levels rose again, the underwater cave was filled with water. The Great Blue Hole is part of a larger protected area called the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System, which is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Great Blue Hole became well known thanks to Jacques Cousteau, a famous underwater explorer who declared it one of the best places for scuba diving in the world. In 1971, Cousteau and his team aboard the ship Calypso explored the hole to map its depths. Their investigations confirmed that the hole formed from limestone rock, a type of rock commonly seen in caves, before the sea levels rose. They found evidence of at least 4 stages of formation, with ledges at depths of up to 91 meters below the surface. Those aforementioned stalactites, formations that hang from the ceiling of caves, were discovered within the submerged caves, confirming that they were formed when the caves were above sea level. In the summer of 1997, an expedition was carried out to collect samples from the floor of the Blue Hole and document its cave system. All the divers involved in this expedition had to be certified in cave diving and trained to use mixed gases for diving safely at those depths. Billionaire Richard Branson and Fabien Cousteau, the grandson of the renowned explorer Jacques Cousteau, teamed up with Erica Bergman, a National Geographic explorer and pilot for Aquatica submarines, to dive to the bottom of the Great Blue Hole. Using special equipment like sonar scanning, the team nearly finished creating a 3D map of the massive hole, which is about 1,000 feet wide. The researchers involved in the project have shared the first ever 3D maps of the Great Blue Hole's interior, along with a short documentary detailing their discoveries. In the film, the experts talk about what they found during the dive and how it helped them better understand how the hole formed long ago. They also discuss the experience of descending through a layer of hydrogen sulfide, where there's no oxygen to speak of. One of the most significant findings of the expedition was this exact discovery of a layer of hydrogen sulfide around 300 feet below the surface. Below this layer, the water becomes dark, lacks oxygen, and doesn't support any marine life. Hydrogen sulfide, which is usually a colorless, flammable, corrosive, and toxic gas, is dissolved in the water at this depth. Although it's less concentrated than in its gaseous form, it's still powerful enough to prevent sea creatures from passing through it. The team found that this layer of hydrogen sulfide extends throughout the entire depth of the hole, starting at around 290 feet. Erica Bergman explained that anything that falls into the hole and sinks below this hydrogen sulfide layer ends up preserved because there's no oxygen available to facilitate decomposition. Without oxygen, no living organisms can survive, and the area below the hydrogen sulfide layer is extremely empty. Describing what they observed below the layer of hydrogen sulfide, Erica Bergman mentioned that they came across a variety of other things, including hundreds of conch shells, signs where divers had attempted to escape, old scientific equipment, and even a GoPro camera with footage still intact. However, they also encountered the remains of 2 divers who had tragically lost their lives in the hole. While the exact number of fatalities in the Great Blue Hole is uncertain, Bergman previously mentioned in an interview with Business Insider that it's believed 3 individuals have gone missing there. So much for being empty. She describes some peculiar tracks they noticed, forming crisscrossing circles near the center of the hole, without any clear indication of what caused them. Mostly, the environment was quiet and dark during their exploration. Additionally, they stumbled upon the resting place of 2 of the divers who had disappeared in the hole. After notifying the local authorities, it was collectively decided to leave them undisturbed, allowing them to rest in peace. Bergman also mentioned the discovery of a massive cavern near the bottom of the hole. This cavern appears to be evidence of a larger underwater cave system. Although the roof of this particular cavern has collapsed, suggesting its formation, there's speculation that similar caverns may exist throughout the reef, waiting for similar collapses to create more blue holes in the future. With the unpredictability of the caves and the dark, dangerous nature of the water itself, the Great Blue Hole is not for the faint of heart. It has taken the lives of multiple professional divers, and unfortunately, they probably won't be the last. Jacob's Well is a natural spring located in the Texas Hill Country, specifically in the area northwest of Wimberley, Texas. It's fed by Cypress Creek and flows perennially, meaning it doesn't dry up even during dry seasons. The spring is situated within the Jacob's Well Natural Area, or JWNA, managed by the Hays County Parks Department. If you want to visit, you can find the entrance to JWNA at 1699 Mount Sharp Road in Wimberley, Texas. The mouth of the spring is about 12 feet in diameter and is a popular spot for locals to swim. But just below the surface, Jacob's Well Cave starts with a vertical drop of around 30 feet and then continues downward at an angle. It consists of a series of chambers filled with silt and separated by narrow passages. The cave reaches an average depth of about 120 feet. Cave divers from the Jacob's Well Exploration Project have explored and mapped the cave system. They've discovered that it has 2 main sections. One passage stretches about 4,500 feet from the surface and goes as deep as 137 feet under, while a secondary passage extends around 1,000 feet from where it branches off the main conduit. Despite its beauty, Jacob's Well is actually considered one of the most dangerous diving spots globally, requiring special permission for entry. The reason for this caution is the unfortunate history of fatalities that have occurred there. At least 12 divers have lost their lives. All of these tragic accidents involve divers who did not have the necessary certifications for cave diving. Certification in cave diving provides divers with the essential skills and training needed to safely navigate through complex underwater cave systems like Jacob's Well. Wayne Russell from Austin, Texas, tragically drowned in Jacob's Well on February 26, 1984, becoming the 9th person to lose their life there. Due to previous incidents, access to the property had been restricted to all divers. However, Wayne and 2 other divers who were not part of the National Speleological Society, or NSS, entered the spring in the evening of Sunday the 26th to gather information for a cave map. After exploring small chambers below the 90-foot level, the other divers began their ascent, carrying a tank that had been left behind from a previous rescue attempt. They noticed Wayne behind them on the safety line, and assuming he was following, they continued their ascent. However, when they checked again, they realized Wayne wasn't with them in the murky water. And unfortunately, they didn't have enough air to go back and search for him. The other divers were arrested for trespassing, as access to the area was still prohibited. Wayne's body was recovered around noon on Monday, and he was found beside the safety line, and his tank was empty. The terrain at the bottom of Jacob's Well is challenging. The soil is thick and sticky, making it difficult for divers to move around and recover if they touch the bottom. Loose gravel is also present in the passageways, which can easily reduce visibility underwater. Additionally, the cave system itself is technically demanding, with narrow passages and numerous tunnels that can confuse divers and turn the underwater environment into a maze-like structure. The Chassahowitzka Wildlife Management Area spans over 24,000 acres of land, including sandy hills, lush forests, and wetland habitats. It's located about 10 miles north of Weeki Wachee in Hernando County, Florida. The area consists of a large main tract of land and 3 smaller satellite tracts nearby. Within the Chassahowitzka Wildlife Management Area are 2 well-known underwater caves, Buford Spring and Eagle's Nest Sinkhole. Both caves are popular among cave divers, but they have also tragically claimed lives. Eagle's Nest Sinkhole in particular is infamous for being one of the most dangerous diving spots in the world. At the entrance to Eagle's Nest Sinkhole, there's a stark black and white sign with a serious warning message. Stop. Prevent your death. There's nothing in this cave worth dying for. Accompanied by an image of the Grim Reaper, this sign serves as a reminder of the dangers within the cave. Eagle's Nest Sinkhole is situated near Weeki Wachee, known for its mermaid shows. The cave system itself consists of narrow passages and lightless pockets filled with rubble and home to unique translucent marine life. The pathways within the cave can plunge as deep as 300 feet and stretch for about a mile along Florida's porous limestone crust. Described as a Venus flytrap by Sylvester Muller, the vice chairman of the National Speleological Society's cave diving section, Eagle's Nest Sinkhole can quickly captivate divers with its stunning sights, leading them deeper into its maze-like structure. Among the diving community, Eagle's Nest is actually renowned as one of the most perilous dives globally due to its extreme depths and complex layout. It's often compared to Mount Everest for its challenging nature. And unfortunately, like Everest, this natural wonder has claimed lives of those who dared to explore its beauty. When 3 friends embarked on a 3-day dive adventure at Eagle's Nest, a cave known for its dangers, they became part of a tragic statistic. The Tampa Bay Times reported that the cave had already claimed the lives of at least 8 individuals, including a father and son on Christmas Day in 2015. 2 of the men, Patrick Peacock and Chris Rittenmeyer from Fort Lauderdale, were experienced divers familiar with Eagle's Nest. The third friend, Justin Blakely, was not as experienced. On a Sunday afternoon, around 2 p.m., the trio entered the water with their scuba gear at Eagle's Nest. While Peacock and Rittenmeyer ventured into the dark caves, Blakely stayed closer to the surface. They planned to regroup at a designated spot by 3 p.m. Blakely returned on time, but his friends did not. After waiting and searching, he called the police around 6 p.m. Rescue divers searched the cave that evening, but couldn't find Peacock and Rittenmeyer. It wasn't until the next morning that a fresh team of rescuers located their bodies trapped at a depth of 260 feet, not far from each other, in a hazardous area of the cave. The tragic deaths of these experienced divers have reignited a long-standing debate about whether Eagle's Nest should remain open to the public. While the state closed the sinkhole in 1999, it actually reopened in 2003 after pressure from diving organizations. Safety measures were implemented, including building a boardwalk and stairway for safer access. Despite warnings and safety measures, some argue that the cave's dangers are too great to justify keeping it open. The risks are particularly concerning for divers with limited experience, like the father and son who perished on Christmas Day in 2013. Despite their lack of training, the allure of Eagle's Nest drew them in, resulting in a devastating outcome. The cause of death for Peacock and Rittenmeyer remains unclear, but factors like nitrogen narcosis, the condition caused by high levels of nitrogen underwater, could have played a role. This condition, as we explained earlier, can impair judgment and lead to fatal errors, even among the most experienced divers. The Tulum archaeological site is smaller compared to many other Mayan sites nearby, but it's well preserved, especially being close to the modern tourist spots along the Mexican-Caribbean coast and not far from Cancun and the Riviera Maya. Because of this, it's become a popular destination for tourists interested in Mayan history. Every day, tour buses bring lots of people to visit the Tulum ruins, making it the third most visited archaeological site in Mexico. In 2017 alone, it welcomed over 2.2 million visitors. For adventurous folks, Tulum offers plenty to explore. The area is full of natural sinkholes, called cenotes, totaling over 6,000 in number. Some of these cenotes are open to the sky, while others are completely underground. Famous cenotes, like the Gran Cenote and Cenote dos Ojos, are great spots for swimming, snorkeling, and diving. Surrounded by lush jungles and often decorated with unique formations like stalactites and stalagmites, cenotes often provide a magical and unforgettable experience. There are many other cenotes in the Tulum area to explore as well, such as Maya Blue, Tortuga, and Calavera. The Temple of Doom is a cave system and one of Mexico's most infamous cenotes. Located near Tulum, the aforementioned popular tourist spot, the cenote appears ordinary from above ground. However, beneath the surface lies a hazardous yet captivating landscape. Only the entrance of the cenote receives sunlight, so divers must rely on artificial light throughout their entire dive. A malfunctioning dive light can lead to serious trouble in the Temple of Doom. Additionally, visibility can be challenging in the cave's intricate depths. Although the risks associated with the cenote are well known, and there's even a forbidding skull and crossbones sign at the underwater entrance, some guides in the area may not enforce strict entry requirements. It's crucial to understand that only highly experienced guides should lead divers into these caves, and only calm and knowledgeable divers should attempt such a dive. Even if a dive company is willing to take you to the cenote, it's essential to ensure that you have the proper experience and understanding of the cave's challenges, just like any of the caves mentioned previously. The consequences of diving without adequate preparation are too severe to adopt a careless approach. And remember, to recklessly dive is to recklessly die.